My name is John Knapp. I'm the co-founder of Source 2050, and this is the latest in our uh, product workshop series that we've been excited to roll out in this new year. We've done four already. This will be our fifth, and we're going to continue to do these um, twice a month going forward. Um, Source 2050, if anyone isn't familiar with us, is a multi-vendor marketplace. It focuses on high performance and passive house products, everything in the envelope, your windows, your rain screen, your foundation, um, everything that you need for a tight, waterproof, airtight building. And we are excited today to have not just a presenter, but a new product for Source 2050 that we've just brought on board, Oscorp. And they are a really exciting company that you're going to hear about today. We've got Kevin Brennan and Shannon Pendleton on the Source 2050 team. That will be our hosts. Kevin is going to be introducing you to the company. Shannon is going to be here with you in the chat. If you've got questions as we go forward, load them into the chat. Shannon will create a queue and we'll get to them after the presentation. So very excited to have everybody here. We always want to have this be interactive, so there's a good chunk of the presentation at the end held for questions. And then we are happy to take project-specific questions offline. Let us know what you're thinking about, what you're working on, and we can schedule a call with you directly afterwards to dig into your project, specifically how Oscorp or any of our products could be a good solution for what you're building. So we got still people trickling in, but we might as well just jump in and people will join us midstream. Without further ado, Kevin, take it over.
John, thank you very much. I'm Kevin Brennan with Source 2050. I'm the director of building systems, and I'm here to present the Oscorp. Bring them in. So, Oscorp is a new air tightness membrane, and they also sell air tightness foams and other membranes and materials to make the enclosure work a lot better. Today we have Andres, Karstens, Ilya, and Stefan from Oscorp. So without any further ado, I will have Andreas take the floor. Thank you, guys. I'm excited to learn about the products and hear your comparisons and everything.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for the introduction there, Kevin. So yeah, just wanted to thank everybody for being able to join us today. I'm really excited to talk about some of our products. As John had mentioned too, we're totally new, basically to Source 2050 and even to the United States market, and something that I'll talk about a little bit in a bit here. I just want to confirm, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's hop right into it. So just a little bit of an agenda. Obviously, I'm going to be joined by Carson and then another member of our team, Ilya and Stefan. They're going to be talking a little bit about the technical portions of our product. We're going to talk a little bit about the products in general. And then we're going to even have a little building science, kind of why our products are important to use, specifically in high performance building and passive house. So let's hop right into it. So I'm going to have Carson start with a little bit of a history of Oscorp. It's all you.
Yes, thank you very much, Andreas. Hello, everyone. My name is Carsten. I'm the founder of Oskorp and the CEO of the parent company Baukraft in Germany. We've been around in Germany for quite some time now. Focusing on high quality building products since the early 2000s. And as Andreas mentioned, we're pretty new to the US, but we're delivering products basically all around the world. And now looking to get into the US market with our subsidiary Oscorp.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that, Carsten. So one of the main things that I want to focus on before I get into the products today is kind of our quality and our quality control. That's something that we take very, very seriously. We take a lot of pride in that. Most of our production facilities use, environmentally friendly materials and processes and products. We also adhere to the strictest of quality control standards, even up to the automotive standard, which is the highest standard that exists. So that's something that we take very seriously and very important. We understand, building materials are very important, and we don't want to have any issues there. So we want to make sure that we have the utmost of quality control, and we don't want we want customers coming back and not products being returned or any reclamations or anything like that. So that's something that we take a lot of pride in, and really, have invested a lot of time and money into. So now I'm going to hop right into the products, starting with our BG1 foam tape. So we have a line of foam tapes that are basically very different and very unique. I think very commonly used in Europe, but at the same time, something that's still new to here. So generally, the weakest part of most window installations is the joint and how you properly seal that joint. So we have a BG1 foam tape. This expanding foam tape comes compressed on a roll, and it's designed to create a consistent, long-term airtight and weather-resistant joint. As opposed to other solutions such as silicone caulking, this kind of tape is going to be able to move with the building. It's going to deal very well with contraction and expansion that you have inside of the joint. As temperatures heat up, as temperatures cool down, the foam is going to come compressed, and it's going to be able to move along with any movements that are in the building. So the BG1 foam tape specifically is unique because it's been hurricane tested. It's UV resistant. So we currently have some applications where it's been in for 10, 15 years, and it looks exactly the same as it did on day one. So it's really meant to last the life of the windows. And the outdoor one, the UV resistant BG1, as mentioned, has already been hurricane tested and is really a great product to use to create a nice clean seal, and something that lasts the life of the window, something that you don't find with traditional sealing methods. So next we have our 3E multifunction joint sealing tape. So this is the same idea as the BG1, just it does not come with the same driving rain and hurricane tests and the UV stability. So this is not going to be a joint sealing tape that you can use on the outside, but is more meant for inside of the frame of the window or on the interior. So this is also a breathable product, also really used in all climate zones in the United States. There's really no issues with install. Once you've done it once or twice, which I myself have done it in our factory, in our production facility, on a mock-up window, and it's something that is very simple. Once you understand how it works, I think it becomes pretty foolproof. And as mentioned, really there to last the life of the windows. So the next slide, I'm going to show the BG1. So this is the exterior one that has the UV stability. You can just kind of see how much cleaner the end result is compared to silicone or traditional caulking methods. So as mentioned, this can even if you don't have a fully flat surface, it's still, the foam will kind of fill its way in there. It's just extremely important that when you're getting this product that you understand the sizing of it, and to make sure you're getting the right sizes. So there's different joint widths and depths that different foam tapes come in different expansions. So if the joint width or the joint depth is a little bit bigger, you're going to obviously need a foam that expands a little bit more. So yeah, here's a picture of that, just a much cleaner install, lasts much longer. Just one of the many benefits of using a foam tape like this. So next is going to be the last part of the window sealing system. So in an ideal situation, you would use the BG1 on the exterior, the 3E on the interior, and then you would use our Duo Easy flashing tape as the sort of way to finish it off and kind of flash around the window or even doors. So this product really came just because there's stricter building codes now. These things are becoming more and more important, especially in places like Massachusetts. So this is mainly used for joint sealing, but it can also be pretty effective as a sheathing tape. You can really use this on any type of surface, including wood, masonry, concrete, OSB. It really will adhere to most surfaces, as long as they're somewhat oil-free and somewhat clean, and somewhat flat without too much of a textured surface. There's really no issues with this at all adhering. So this Duo Easy also has a adapting perm value or an adapting SD, which is going to be from 0.29 to 7.5 perms. So you're not going to have any issues with vapor or moisture buildup. That's going to be able to dry out. This is also UV resistant, so 12 months In a place like Florida where you have more sun, more UV, maybe only 6 months, but generally we like to say up to 12 months before anything needs to be covered on it. And the great thing about this tape too is there might be some competitors where you have one for the inside, one for the outside. This is a tape that's also foolproof. You can use it on the inside or outside in any climate zone in the United States. So this one really is relatively foolproof as well. The next slide, I'm going to go into just a couple of exterior and interior application pictures. So you can see here on the outside around the window, and then here the interior shots of the Duo Easy. So next I'm going to get into our one for all tape. So this is kind of, as the name says, one for all. So this is really a tape that you can use for anything. You can use this on the inside. You can use this on the outside. It's waterproof. It's also resistant to driving rain. This is also, you can leave exposed for 12 months, we'd like to officially say, although you probably could get away with 18 months to 24 months. We have customers that have used those numbers and have had it UV open for that amount of time. So that's something that we would feel very, very comfortable leaving on the outside for an extended period. This is really suitable for bonding any of our house wraps, any of our air barriers, any of our vapor barriers, our mechanically fastened roofing underlayments. It's really great to use in any of those things. It also has a very flexible texture. So basically, a lot of tapes will stretch in one direction. As I spoke before with the foam tapes, you have that expansion contraction in a building. This tape also is going to be able to stretch in all directions. Once we get a little bit into the product showcase here in a little bit with my colleagues Karsten and Ilya, they'll be able to highlight that and show a little bit how flexible and how really multi-dimensional this sort of tape can be. And again, also, this is really suitable for basically any surface as long as it's oil-free and somewhat clean. It's going to be extremely adhesive and also highly resistant to aging. So we've done some long-term artificial aging tests with this tape that they passed with flying colors, and in some cases even adhered better to the surface after longer periods of time than at the beginning or within 24 hours. So it is important to note that with a tape like this, you won't reach full adhesion until about 48 to 72 hours. Something I actually also wanted to bring up with the One for All tape is that we offer different versions of this tape as well. The standard One for All comes on a liner. We can really do numerous types of widths. However, this one comes on a liner. Then we also do a linerless, which is much nicer just to keep the job site a little bit more clean. You don't have liners kind of laying around everywhere. And it also makes it much quicker. And the linerless also has an easy tear function. So you get a very clean tear when you rip it by hand. And then we also have a One for All extra tape, which has passed some really, really high level cold tests in Sweden. I'll also have Ilya talk about that a little bit more when we do the product showcase. But that's a very extreme version of the One for All tape. It even comes with measuring on it, which is also something that you can get on the One for All tape. But yeah, just wanted to mention that we also have different versions of this tape depending on what your application is. So next we have our Very Smart Duo. So this is basically a variable smart vapor barrier. So this is something that includes a fleece lamination plus an extra mesh. So that's to prevent any tearing on a job site. Just makes it a little bit more stable and still offers the same kind of perm spread. So this offers the highest SD spread on the market. So it's 22.53 perms down to 0.95 perms. So this sort of variability is going to be very important when you're in more extreme and harsh climates. It's going to be able to open up much more and close down much more. And this kind of is better in, climates where you have very hot, humid summers and very cold, harsh winters. So yeah, this is really something that you can use in new construction, can also be used in, any prefab applications. Really a product that you can feel very comfortable because of this high perm spread. that you're not going to have any vapor or moisture buildup inside of your walls. So the next picture kind of shows our products kind of all working together. So you see here our One for All tape is kind of adhering to the Very Smart Duo Plus. And then we also have these airtight sleeves that are meant for any cables or pipes or any kinds of tubes that maybe need to go inside of the wall. And that's what our airtight sleeves are going to take care of. You see here, there's a little cable. Yeah, so just a little graphic of how all of the products function together. So next up, we have our Platina roofing underlayment. So this is a self-adhering, breathable roofing membrane. It's something that's great to use under high temperature, in high temperature applications such as solar or metal roofs. It has a temperature withstanding of up to 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Also a really nice feature, kind of as an anti-slip feature. We have a sort of grid embossing on this side of the roofing underlayment, which makes it really nice. And most, people working with this stuff or construction workers love this just because it adds that little bit of extra grip and makes them feel just a little bit more secure when they're up on the roof working on this. So this is actually currently in our final testing process. So this should be something that's not quite available for sale at the moment, but we're in the final stages and wrapping that up as we speak, and can also be used as an ice and water shield. Has passed the testing for that. And then you can see the application right here up in the roof. So here's another picture of how the Platina would be put onto the roof, as you can see under a solar roof. And yeah. So the last product I want to talk about is our Oskorp Gold Wrap Air Barrier. So this is basically a pretty standard air barrier, UV resistant up to 6 months. Again, we'd probably feel comfortable off the record saying you could probably push it up to 9 months. This is also a breathable air barrier at 20 perms. So also kind of works perfectly with our whole vapor management system, which is the vapor barrier, the air barrier with the roofing underlayment, all of the tapes, all flows in kind of perfectly with this product. So now I want to jump into my colleagues in Germany who are going to go a little bit more in depth and really showcase some of the products that I just spoke about firsthand.
Thanks, Andreas. We're going to ask Karsten to unmute, and we're going to spotlight them so they can see everyone, and everyone can see them right in the workshop. And great presentation. Please keep adding your questions to the chat.
Can I start?
Yes.
Okay.
Great, Karsten. We can hear you loud and clear. We can see you in the workshop. So take it away. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Ilya. I'm the technical sales guy from Bograph, sales director and product manager. And our idea was to do the smartest vapor barrier, what you can achieve. This is the Very Smart Duo, what I wanted to show you here. I hope that's visible. Yeah. What is the most interesting thing about it? We have on the surface is a very special polyamide, a very thin polyamide, and we had the idea to put a special additive to this polyamide, which is coming from the food industry. Think about the following: when you have like meat, fish, cheese, you always have a packaging surround it. And when you bring it on long distances, there is like weather changes, moisture changes, and that it doesn't mold from the inside. We had the idea to put this oxygen barrier into a polyamide to achieve the smartest vapor barrier what is existing on the market. Means it works differently in winter and in summer. It allows the situation to not pull warm air out of the house, but also like in when it is hot outside in summer and the air conditioning is working inside, that moisture can easily go through the inside and dry out. So smartest vapor barrier at the moment. I'm very proud of that product. It was a very long development. Of course, to get a perfect building envelope, I wanted also to show you the one for all tape from Oskorp. It's a little bit different, printed in Germany, but it's technically the same tape. And what we wanted to achieve is the highest glue power from the first moment. I want to show you the differences. If I take some kind of, let's say, competitor's tape from the internet, which I bought on eBay, I glue it on any vapor barrier, press it, it sticks. Of course it sticks. But when I do this thing, then you can easily remove it again. And this was something which wasn't okay for us. So we wanted to get a tape which sticks from the first second up to 50 years. And yeah, then I show you just the difference with this one. Easy to tear, easy to apply, sticks again. And now if you pull that one, I removed the color. I'm sorry, I need to show that again.
Ilya, also do me a favor and show the flexibility of how it works in both ways, the stretchiness, the flexibility of it. I think that's also really important to see.
Okay. Yeah, in overlaps. When you glue an overlap, everything moves in the house and you need to adjust this movement. Most of the tapes can adjust in, I hope it's visible, in one direction. Here, here it is, yeah. So this tape, the PE film, the carrier, is a 3 layers PE film, and that's why it moves in any kind of direction. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how the surface is working against the tape. With this one, it always stays where it should be because it adjusts to any movement. But still, I wanted to show you the glue power again from the first second. Yeah. Yeah. You see now, this is the difference. The first one was because there is the color, and I removed the color from the vapor barrier. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice to see the movement horizontally and vertically in that tape because I know, Kevin, when you're applying these and doing window installs, stretching around those corners is an exercise in adding a little bit of muscle, right? And you really don't want it to come off quickly. You want it to hold tight and stretch as much as possible. Is that right?
Yeah, it's great to see the flexibility of the tape. It's also great to see that it's hand tearable as well. So great job, guys. Nice products.
No.
Please continue on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So now the Duo Easy for the windows, the flashing tape for the inside and outside. This is actually it has the same polyamide membrane inside as the Varisma Duo, but also a plasterable surface. So this is a very easy application. You see, you have it's completely self-adhesive, and here is a the small split which you remove. This sticky side you just place on the window frame. The remaining part you remove the liner and place it around the window, inside and outside, both with the same tape, and it provides the air tightness inside tighter than outside to the window and makes it absolutely effective for cost saving and losing of energy. Plasterable surface, driving rain proof, and smart membrane inside. One tape for all windows, and is working all around the world. And that was the goal, especially
for us to make smart systems which are working everywhere in the world, because you have different climates and they are suitable for any climate in the world. Yeah, I think I got it.
Yeah, great.
Platina?
Perfect.
Platina?
Oh,
So we have one more product to show, which is the Platina that Andreas mentioned earlier, the underlayment. That's a non-self-adhered version, but the self-adhered version is the same, just with an adhesive layer on it. It will still be breathable with the adhesive layer. And yeah, as Andreas said, it's tested for ice and water barrier, and soon enough also for the hurricane test in Florida. So it's a very durable product, while being thin and relatively easy to use on the roof. Anything else?
Yeah. The best part of it, there is a special PU coating on the top, and PU is very strong against UV and rain, but it still stays breathable. And that was our goal to achieve, to have a very high temperature UV and driving rain resistant product, which you can use on any roof beneath, like shingles, tiles, it doesn't matter. And I hope this is visible. We have like an amber surface here. Is that visible? Yeah.
Yeah, we
Here
can
is
see
an
it.
amber surface because PU is getting very slippy when it's raining, and therefore we have an embossed crest on top that you still have an anti-slip effect on the roof, and yeah, stay where you are even when it's raining.
Looks like a great system.
perfect. Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you doing a little showcase here of the products. Now I want to jump back into the presentation and kind of talk a little bit about some of our product equivalents. So I think many people are very familiar with some of the brands that create product equivalents. So I wanted to kind of go a little bit into what those are. So if anybody needs access to this, this is going to be on the Source 2050 site. I'm not sure if it's on there yet, but it will be at some point. I know that's something that's really important, just because we understand, as Oskorp being a new player in the United States, that some people might say, hey, I love Sega Wiglove, but I'd love to try One for All. So this kind of makes it easy, gives you kind of the comparables for Sega, and also the comparables for Pro Klima. So yeah, this should be available on the Source 2050 site. If not, reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to send you this, just so you can kind of get the comparable products. So now a little product comparison, same as I just spoke to. We obviously have very similar products to what Sega and Pro Klima offers. So I just wanted to go through some of the specs and some of the comparisons. So with our vapor barriers, I think the main thing that really stands out here is, like I said before, is the variable permeability. So it's able to, as the technology that Ilya was just talking about, he was saying, we have one of the most advanced vapor barriers that exists on the market due to this high spreading. So it's able to open up all the way to 22.5 perms, which I think is extremely important when you have, these larger, climate changes, and, you have a wider climate. Maybe not so important where, you have a very, very consistent climate. But it really, with this perm rating or the variable permeability, I think there's really no question that you can feel secure about your the interior of your wall staying dry and your insulation staying dry. So the next, I want to do a quick comparison of the adhesive tapes. So this is our Oskorp One for All tape. So the UV stability is going to be a little bit longer on this. The temperature resistance, at least compared to the Pro Klima, is going to also be a little bit higher. Also, as mentioned, can be used on the inside and outside. Also offered in different widths. So any of the tapes that you see can really be offered in any width up to about 1.5 meters. So that's about somewhere around 3 feet. I doubt that would be something that someone would need, but we are able to do it up to that, just as a little side note. So then here, yep, Oskorp Duo Easy, also something that Ilya had just shown before, uses the same technology as our vapor barrier, a very similar technology. Can also be used on the outside and inside, which I think is something that really makes this product unique. In other cases, you need 3 different tapes, where Duo Easy does the job of 3 tapes within one. So it kind of keeps it a little bit more simple. And again, we also offer this tape in a 6 and 9-inch width. And yeah. So next, I wanted to introduce Stefan Goebel. He's going to talk a little bit about some of the building science and how it coincides with our products, why it's important to use these types of products, and so it's all yours, Stefan.
Hey, thank you, Andreas. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, great. Thank you. Nice to meet you all. And my name is Stefan Goebel. I'm a Passwords consultant. And I thank you, Oskorp, for really being dedicated to creating a lot of awareness and education and these kind of training formats. So we'll talk a little bit about airtightness. For some of you, you may passive house well, but in general, building science, there's a few principles that matter that we care about. One is continuous insulation. We want to avoid thermal bridging. We want to build tight, but ventilate right. So we have a mechanical system to ventilate. And then last but not least, we want to have the right windows and them installed correctly. So when we talk about airtightness, which is, I think, one of the biggest drivers, no matter where we build in the United States for efficiency and durability, look at this screen here. You see a piece of gypsum board, and there's very little water that diffuses through that piece of gypsum board because it's a permeable material. But as soon as you're entering you're adding a 1 square inch hole, about 60 times the amount of water will go through. So the air that goes into the building and exits the building is not just an energy penalty, but also a durability concern. So you've probably seen this before. We'll be very quick here. These kind of leakage situations we have happening in a lot of the connections between the floor, the wall, the windows. And we really want to avoid this. And in passive buildings, just imagine we're building a lot tighter. There's a red bar around the building, but now we need to ventilate right. We're bringing fresh air to the bedrooms and the living room, exhausting from the kitchens and the bathrooms. What I want to focus on is a lot of leakage happens between the window and the wall where we have gaps. And not just leakage, air leakage, there's also some acoustic concerns that I'll talk about in a second. So we want to avoid this. And when we look at these details here, we can kind of see a few things that Jairus has already talked about. We see the external weather barrier. That is, in the United States, in most cases, the air control layer, a WRB that ties in with the frame. So you see this red line here. I'm just going back and forth. Here, number 2, on the head on the outside, and then on the sill down here as well. So this in the United States is typically the air barrier. Then we have the air control layer in Europe. We have an additional flashing tape that's used on the interior. In the United States, we see this as well, specifically when we use products such as the smart vapor membranes that Ilya and Carsten just explained and discussed, because we somehow have to tie that membrane in with the frame, right? So now we have these 2 flashing tapes on the outside and the inside, which makes that gap extremely airtight. There's one component missing, which is the functional layer for insulation and acoustics. That's that layer right here in orange. You can see it here, you could see it here, and that's a crucial part. And the expandable multifunctional foam tape that Andreas mentioned earlier, that is available in 2 versions. One, UV stable, non-UV stable. If it's not exposed to UV, it doesn't have to be UV stable. So right now it's used here, number 4, and it's encapsulated. What this multifunction expandable foam tape does that you can see here, it expands far beyond the width of the joint of that gap. So the building moves, there's life load, dead load, temperature swings, the window has to move with it. Now imagine the alternative that we see a lot being used in our market is spray foam. Spray foam will over time delaminate, and there's going to be micro leaks. And when we have these leaks, we learned just now that there's a lot of water going through them. In Germany, public buildings doesn't allow to use spray foam anymore because of toxic off-gassing. This is why these tapes, and I was just in Germany end of last year, I stayed at a hotel in Frankfurt, and I walked the stairs, didn't take the elevator, and it was all exposed concrete. And you can see this tape in every Schuko window. So it really is very common. We just kind of skip the load-bearing blocks and the distance blocks and the window frame screw here. So I want to show you one more detail here. This is with exterior insulation. So that external flashing tape that Andreas was showing is going to go over here. And then we have the foam tape that will go in the center. And then we have another flashing tape that goes on the interior. You can screw it up on site because that tape can be used on the outside and the inside. Doesn't matter, which I love. Another example here, same thing. We have that external flashing tape. The insulation is here. So we have this external flashing tape. We have the interior flashing tape, and we have the expandable foam tape or spray foam or another material in here. Now, the multifunctional expandable foam tape will replace the flashing tape. What you've seen here is a flashing tape, and an expandable foam tape. Now, the foam tape that we see here is a one-in-all. That's the multifunctional expandable foam tape that Andreas showed as well. So it is a primary air and vapor barrier that's used in this gap, tested to, I think, Andreas hurricane standards. So this is an alternative, and you can see this alternative installed here onto the window frame, moved into the opening, expanding beyond the gap, and really closing that gap. This is after a 10-year of install, which I love to see this because it's such a clean way to deal with this gap. An expansion joint, an extremely long expansion joint, and I think if we as an industry go away from caulking and just Becker rotting and just using material that are durable and that will actually move and work with the building enclosure, we have a lot tighter buildings. And they can be prettier too. I mean, this is a very extreme case. Somebody didn't take that caulk out and just add it on and add it on. But no, of course, there's some limitations how this foam can grow into this joint here, but it does a pretty good job about it, and you can see it here as well. And for these penalized systems, there's long-standing maintenance programs that you need in these high-rise buildings, and going away from caulking and using either tri-gasket systems or these kind of foams can be a big advantage. So I have a little bit more information here on membranes, but I also think we have plenty of time to open this up for discussions. And if you like to talk about how the WB is applied and how the smart vapor membrane ensures that we do not have condensation in our wall assemblies, potentially freezing on the backside of the sheathing, we can kind of go back to these slides here. But yeah, I'd like to open it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Wonderful presentation. Building science, right amount, nerdiness, everything's right there. Great pictures. Wonderful product line. I love the foam tapes, the expansion joints. I think it's the future where our industry's going. We've been doing a lot of window quoting at Source 2050, and these expanding foam tapes, I think, are going to make everyone's jobs a little easier in the future, especially when they're packaged together as complete systems. So,
one quick comment. We're working on multifamily projects in New York that are going passive house, and a lot of times we have trains going right by them. There's airplanes, and when you look at acoustics, really by definition, the acoustic performance of the window, a lot of us look at STC, but STC is not really that great because it just takes the high frequency. What we want is the OITC, which takes the long frequency. So when a truck drives by or a train goes by, it's a very long frequency. And those long frequencies can bend around these tiny little joints. So it's called flank transmission. And what we want in this joint is really a 10 additional decibel protection beyond the window performance. It's something that we commonly see in Germany, but it's really not discussed in the United States. The joint is more of an afterthought, but when we think about the joint, it should be 10 plus dB than that window actually performs. Just a side note here on another comfort. enhancing point of this foam tape.
It's great.
That's great. I had a quick question before we throw it open to questions in the chat. And if you haven't asked a question and you have one, do put it in the chat, and we'll jump to the next. But for anyone on the team, you'd mentioned in passing the oxygen layer that you have on the membranes, that oxygen absorption, and I'd love to if you just talk a little bit more about that and what the benefit of that is versus other products that are on the market that don't have that feature.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Regarding the oxygen barrier, what we did in the first moment when we had the first smart membranes on the market, they weren't working everywhere in the world. That means especially in very hot areas like Florida, for example, or very cold areas where you got like very long winter times. These smart membranes don't work as perfect as they do, for example, in Middle Europe, where you got summer and winter. And therefore, we needed something to make our membrane smarter, that it can adapt to like any height. If you, for example, do bring it on the mountains, that it works as in Florida, as in every other area in the world. And that's why we had this idea, what we looked up from the food industry, that they are using an oxygen barrier between PE, and we had the idea to use an oxygen barrier between two polyamide slides. And if you think about the technology, our polyamide is just 0.021 millimeters. I even cannot say how much this is in inches. It's like less than less than 1 of 100 inches, but still 3 layers. Polyamide, oxygen barrier, polyamide. And this idea, and to achieve this little tiny film and to bring it on a non-woven with a mesh, this is how we adapted our smart air barrier to the smartest air barrier.
Yeah, and it has a nice additional effect, which is that it's very reliable in blocking out harmful substances. For example, if you have wood preservatives in your roof, which is not that uncommon, and you use a smart vapor barrier with an oxygen barrier, you can be assured that no wood preservatives will get into the living room. So that's also like a added benefit, yeah.
That's a great talking point. So the VOCs would be blocked from the construction coming in. So it's actually a protective layer as well.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Great.
I love this because it's like an extension of a healthy building material, where we start to talk about building health, and you are what you eat and you are what you build, right? So you've taken a product that's been used in the food industry for a very long time to preserve health and preserve our ability to trust a product, and you've applied it to a building product. And I think for contractors that are used to using high VOC products and products that are requiring safety gear and thick gloves to manipulate, and you've given them an opportunity to use a product that they can kind of do it with their own bare hands, like you guys did today. So thanks for bringing it to the showcase and doing this product workshop with us today. I did drop a link in the chat, and Stefan, thank you for your presentation and for showing a lot of those details and a lot of those photos. We've sold the BG1 tape to some of our clients, and I threw a link in the chat to an image that we like to show as our kind of 5 steps to a perfect window install, showcasing this expanding foam tape. So we love the product. We stand behind it in our own projects as well. And I think we do have one question that came in from, I think it was, and help me out, Kevin, if you see it.
Mike Wong.
Mike, but Andrew Wall had a comment as well. Andrew, if you're with us and you'd like to come online and ask your question, you're welcome to unmute and say hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Andrew, welcome.
Hi. A lot of cold climates have a problem with what's called truss uplift. And in retrofitting, it's very difficult to deal with because summer to winter, that gap changes. And I'm looking for somebody to take on the a gusset in their tape. So in other words, about 1/3 of it's glue, the middle third would not be glue, and then the other side glue, so that someone can tape to the wall and to the ceiling and give that a place for it to move, and then just cover it up with like a crown molding or something like that.
It sounds like a pretty technical, application. I think maybe we can maybe send a drawing offline and see if they'd be interested in working on that challenge. Because
Maybe I just wanted to see if I understood it correctly. I'm from Germany, sorry, I'm not the best English speaker, but if I understood it correctly, I hope this is visible. What I have understood is like to have adhesive, non-adhesive, and adhesive again. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Any place that uses trusses and they bury the bottom cord in insulation, we now have two different environments for the truss. So that means the bottom cord moves differently than the upper cord, and it raises up in the winter when we heat our houses. So any place in any climate that uses trusses and they get cold in the winter
Trusses.
will have truss uplift issues.
Ich glaube, this is
Millions
Fachwerk.
of houses.
So, sorry to interrupt here, but I think it's Fachwerk. Yeah.
Fachwerk. Ah, okay, now I got it. Thank you.
Just
Yeah.
a thought.
What we can do, for example, if you just ask it like this, for example, you got a flashing tape, any tape, what we could do, having an adhesive, like let's do it different. Completely self-adhesive, yes, but you can just leave, for example, you make the split liners like here, and leave that part, completely with the liner. Means after removing the liner, like on that part and on that part, then you have the sticky sides on the side, and you just leave the little liner in between, that you have a movement. If I understood your question correctly, I hope that was the answer.
Yeah, I have another solution, but that would be one way to solve it. I
Andrew,
just thought it'd be maybe you guys would be interested in seeing if the market wants it.
Absolutely.
Andrew,
Definitely.
in the Air Barrier Association world, the expansion joint, the way they deal with an expansion joint is you'll take a piece of 6-inch peel, a 9-inch peeling stick, and they'll take another piece and put it in between the two, and then that'll be like a slip joint for it. So maybe you could do the same thing with some of the tapes so that it's adhered at the one end and over here at the other end, but it has movement between it. Could be another option for you to overcome that challenge.
And you've
Thank
got
you.
good
thank
company in the chat from Daniel Levy, who's a good friend. Thank you, Daniel, for adding that comment. We've got a couple more questions up, I think, from Mike Wong. Mike, are you free to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, I am. I guess I'll just read it. Regarding your expansion phone tapes, can you explain the application method, namely how it would replace a sealant with Baccarat application?
The foam tape is self-adhesive.
Yes.
Yeah, it comes on the roll. Here it's protected with adhesive. That means as soon as you open the shrink wrapping foil, you just glue it where you need to put it in the joint, and then it opens up, expands until it finds the window frame, for example. And this part is then driving rain-proof, airtight, wind-tight, watertight.
Okay, so say like you have, say, a sealant with Baccarat application, you have a joint that is kind of already in place, and say it's like 1/2 inch wide and maybe, an inch deep. How would you get the tape in there easily? Is that a challenge, or would you use a different product for that?
No, you get the compromise tape you can get in any width and for any depth of the joint. That means as soon as you open it, you just bring it into the joint, and then you just have to wait until it decompresses and opens up, and that's it. So it
Okay,
is
so you
actually
can
quite easy.
actually slide it into the joint without it sticking
Exactly.
too
Yeah.
soon.
You
Okay.
just push it in.
Yeah, so it's much thinner before it decompresses. So it's should be quite easy to get it into the joint if the size is the correct one.
Yes, yes. And when we did it on our project, you know, and I've seen some people put it on the window and then push the window into place. We had the window in place and we just tucked it in and it slowly expanded and filled the joint. And what's nice to know if you're going to use this is it is temperature sensitive. So if you're in a very cold weather climate and you're installing this when it's very cold, it's going to take a lot longer for it to expand. You're going to have a lot of time. If you're in a very hot climate, it's going to happen a lot faster, but there is time on both ends of that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, generally, just to add on to that, generally we like to say in a warmer, more humid climate, you have about 30 to 40 minutes until it really reaches most of its decompression. In a colder area, you could have up to an hour and 15, hour and 30 minutes until it's kind of decompressed. Even the full decompression takes days, but most of it will happen within about, on average, an hour, depending on temperature and humidity. So,
What is the minimum gap that you can use it for? How small can you get?
um,
Our smallest size is the 8 millimeter width. This is the smallest part we can cut.
Okay, and then the gap, a joint width itself is maybe the width of your fingers that you can just push it in with.
The smaller, the easier. So there is no limitation down.
I see. All right, thank you very much.
Great. Shannon, do we have any more questions or comments?
We do. We have one from Devin Tilley. Devin, would you like to come on and unmute and ask your question?
Sure, I loved all the information. My question was, do you guys have any type of installation training certification? I own a window and door dealership in Colorado and then run a podcast it's a big focus for us that we're trying to find the way to implement best building practices into the crappy way the masses do buildings and finding a way to bridge that gap. So I'm curious, Source 2050 with Oskorp, how you guys are discussing how we could collaborate to how do we eat this elephant of one bite at a time. That a lot of this building science stuff just goes over my head because I'm a big picture visionary guy, but how do we get the people using this stuff in the right hands to the right people to actually utilize this in a way that they put one step in front of the other?
Amazing, Devin. Thank you. And Kevin, do you want to talk about what we did last week?
Yeah, the workshops are, like they're very, the focus is to share knowledge in biteable portions with our partner vendors and share that information. I know personally from teaching the Passive House tradesperson course that you have a certain amount of eye-opening experience to these European methods of air tightness, foam tapes, window install details. It's a great course. It's a 5-day hands-on course delivered by EMU throughout the country. There's another one by FIAS, the FIAS Builders Training. And that's really, that's also great. But when I delivered the course, there's a certain amount of hands-on nature to these to these systems. And our goal in the future is to support training by bringing these workshops into the field and putting these materials in the hands of those getting trained. So it's happening. It's out there. I don't see right now a certified installer program, but if there was a need for one, I think we could put one together with the right partners, especially on the Windows side.
And Devin, last week we had 2 workshops kind of back to back. We had a product showcase on the accelerator all about window installs, had a lot of QuickTime videos, talked through a lot of details, showed a lot of photos from the field. And then we also had a manufacturer who had a structural thermal break material talk about how to construct a buck and not install your window right against the structural framing. And so this is a kind of an extension of that with regard to the products that Oskorp is bringing to the table today and some of the details that Stefan was sharing. But thank you for the work you're doing too. Karsten or Stefan, did you want to add in, or Andreas?
Yeah, maybe just one quick comment, Devin. It's really no rocket science. And I think it's as simple as having, I'm sure you have a mock-up, you have windows I saw in the background, and just really Andreas sending you some samples, and maybe he'll make the trip out, or it's a video conference, and there's a few instructions that you need, but other than that, you'll be surprised how good you are at installing this. It's not that difficult. In many ways, I felt it was even almost easier than dealing with the flashing tape and dealing with the spray foam. And so, yeah, I think this could be as simple as Andreas Devon maybe setting up a meeting and getting you some samples, and you're ready, teaching your people, your install people once you know how it's done, and that's it.
Maybe I can also add something, Stefan. Just some weeks ago, we made a very long installation video, like for any kind of construction site, for any window, how to use like compromise tapes, 3 layers tape, and flashing tapes. In total, I think 1 hour.
Yeah.
In total, it's 1 hour, but then you got like everything inside, and then you see how easy it is. We can share this video with everyone, of course.
Yeah. And also, we're of course always open to do on-site trainings and stuff like that. And either Andreas or one of us are happy to join you. And yeah.
Yeah, and what you'll see online on Source 2050 on the product pages where we're sharing all of Oskorp's products, we'll have the material safety data sheets listed on there. We'll have videos posted on there for install. And so anything that we're sharing on these projects and these programs and these product workshops, we can get up on our website, and you can have access to them 24/7. So let us know if you need samples, and let us know if you have a project that you're working on where you'd like to showcase some of these installs. I think we have one more question in the hopper.
I think it's your question.
It was my question. I was curious about, so I had not heard of Oskorp until I met Andreas a little while ago. We were enjoying the BG1 tape so much, and we wanted to know what else was out there. And I found out that a lot of these products are really well known in Germany, but not in the States, which is why we want to bring them onto Source 2050. Andreas or Karsten or even Stefan, can you share a little bit about how well known these products are in Northern Europe?
I didn't get the end.
Yeah, so die Frage war,
Yeah, I think maybe I had already talked about the expandable foam tape in my hotel experience, and it's very common to see them. So installers are familiar with them. They're being used. Clients want to get away from spray foam because of the toxic off-gassing, in some cases because of the embodied carbon. They're great for refurbishment projects. So yeah, speaking on that side, they're just common, and hopefully we can make that happen in the United States as well. I'll let everybody else answer around membranes. Maybe Karsten or Andreas, if you want to talk about your membranes and how they're used in Germany. And
yeah, how popular do you see these products being applied in Germany and in Northern European climates?
Yeah, so basically those kind of products are usually in more or less every sloped roof in Germany. And I would say in most of Northern Europe too. But maybe I can also give it to Ilya. He's the sales manager Europe, on where the products are used and how they are used around here.
Okay. So let's say it like this. Our most eastern part where our products are being used is Australia and New Zealand. The southest part is South Africa. The northern part is Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Norway. Yeah, in Europe, I think we are the market leader in private labels. And now it's time to get to the States and get successful, and yeah, good building envelopes also over there.
Perfect. I think that's a great place to stop. It is the top of the hour. Kevin and John, do you want to thank these guys and let everybody know how to get in touch?
Yeah, this has been fantastic. Thank you all for this presentation. As I mentioned, this is the fourth in our series of product workshops, Source 2050. We are going to be posting all of these videos on the source2050.com homepage soon. And that will allow you to share these, rewatch them, drop in questions that will come straight to us and routed to the presenters. So keep your eyes open for that, as well as the announcement for our next one, which will be in 2 weeks on the 26th, is it? That announcement will be coming soon. But if you have questions about this presentation or anything that came up today, you have our contacts in the chat. We'd love to discuss your projects that you're working on and see how Oscorp products could be used to help you achieve your construction goals. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you to all the presenters. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye.